Welcome back to day 3 of Baking in Books Christmas Cookies and Christmas Reads edition. Today we're going to make hot cocoa cookies and talk about Catching Christmas by Terri Blackstock. The reason I came up with these cookies is because somebody had given me a bag of these. These are Hershey's Kisses Hot Cocoa. And I wasn't sure what to do with them. I tried them on their own and I didn't really enjoy the marshmallow and chocolate on their own. So I thought, why not use it on a cookie and make a hot cocoa cookie? So I modified a recipe that I found and added these Hershey Kisses to the top, and they made the perfect hot cocoa cookie. Now you could also use the candy cane Hershey Kisses if you want a peppermint hot cocoa flavor combination. So what we're going to do first is make our cookie base, and you don't need to have the oven preheated for this one because we're going to have to let the dough chill for an hour in the fridge. So first thing I've got is a half a cup of butter softened and 2/3 cups sugar, and we're going to mix those up. You want to get them light and fluffy. Once you have it light and fluffy in your bowl, you're going to add 1 egg yolk, 2 tablespoons of milk, and 1 teaspoon vanilla, which I have already mixed in here. And then you're going to combine it again. Now you want to mix that up until it's a nice creamed texture. And then to that, we're going to add our dry ingredients. In a separate bowl, I've already mixed together 1 cup flour, 1/3 cup baking cocoa, and 1/4 teaspoon salt. And I went ahead and mixed them all. That way I don't have to wonder if they're mixed together in my cookie dough because I already have it mixed together in here. So I'm going to pour these in. And now I'm going to mix these up. I may have to scrape the sides of my bowl to make sure everything gets mixed together. But after we get done with that, we're going to pop it in the fridge. After that's all mixed together, you should have a nice thick dough. We could go ahead and use it without refrigerating it. It may be a little soft still and we have to shape it. So that's why we're going to go ahead and cover it with saran wrap and put it in the fridge for an hour. When I come back, we're going to shape these cookies, get them in the oven, and talk about Catching Christmas by Terri Blackstock. Okay, it's been an hour, so we're going to go ahead and bake our cookies. I have out my dough, a small bowl of powdered sugar, and my Hershey's Cocoa Kisses already unwrapped. I also have a prepared pan. Again, you can either grease it or use parchment paper. And then my oven has already been preheated to 350. But before we begin today, I want to show you a picture of the book we're talking about, Catching Christmas by Terri Blackstock. And today, because I'm dealing with chocolate dough and I am going to be rolling these, I'm putting on my gloves. So we're going to roll the dough into 1-inch balls. Which are about this size. And then we're going to roll them in the powdered sugar, get them good and coated, which I find that even rolling them in the powdered sugar and getting them good and coated, a lot of times you can't even see it when they're done baking, but I'll go ahead and do it and just flatten them out a little bit. Not much, so if you look at it, it's just barely flat on top. And while I roll these out, we're going to talk about Catching Christmas. I first read this book last year, and I bought it because it looked fun on the cover. And Terri Blackstock is a well-known author, so I thought I would give it a try. And I was looking for something a little lighthearted and just easy to read after the year I'd had. My grandmother had just died. I had been taking care of her, helping my mom take care of her because she had Alzheimer's. And so I just wanted that little extra lift. I was quite surprised when I got this book because I apparently didn't research it enough. If you're looking for that light, easy read, this isn't necessarily going to be that book. There are fun times, there are cute moments, there are things that make you smile. But Miss Callie, one of the main characters, is dealing with some issues in her old age that aren't necessarily easy to deal with. So there are some heavier themes in the book. You also have Finn and Sydney. Sydney is Miss Callie's granddaughter, I believe, and she has some issues she's dealing with as far as her grandmother and her care and dealing with her job as an attorney. And then you have Finn, who kind of gets dragged into Miss Callie's Christmas, and he is a taxi driver who's dealing with some things of his own in relation to his past. So there's a lot going on in this book, and like I said, there's a lot to smile about. There's a lot of heartwarming scenes and things like that, but it is a book that deals with some of the heavier issues as well. I'm not sorry that I read it. It was actually one of my favorite books that I read last year at Christmas time. And you can find my full review of it online at heathergreer.com. Just go to the archives and search Catching Christmas and it'll come up. And I think you're really going to like and relate to the characters in this book. Miss Callie, despite the things that she's dealing with in her age, she's a caring, loving woman on a mission, and she intends to see that mission completed by Christmas. Finn and Sydney, they have their points where they get frustrated with each other, frustrated with themselves, but they do come to genuinely care for Miss Callie and want to see her have what she's looking for at Christmas. So while Catching Christmas isn't exactly what I expected when I first picked it up, I am glad I read it because it is funny and sweet and meaningful, and I believe anybody who picks it up and reads it is going to find the same thing. It's full of reminders to live with purpose and chase after the important things in life. Even if you're looking for something a little more lighthearted like I was last year when I read this book, I think you should still pick up Catching Christmas and give it a try. It's one of those books that is heartfelt and makes you want to curl up and read it while you're snuggled under a warm blanket with a cup of hot cocoa. And while you're at it, grab a couple of these hot cocoa cookies to go with it, and it'll be the perfect complement to this very sweet, heartwarming story. We've got our first pan of cookies ready to go in the oven. I'm going to put them in. Again, it's preheated to 350, and we're going to leave them in for 10 to 12 minutes. And then when we pull them out, we'll top them with the Hershey's Kisses to finish them off, and we'll show you the finished product. When your cookies come out of the oven, you'll want to keep them on the tray long enough to take one Hershey Kiss and put it in the top of each cookie. You don't want to press too hard, but you do want to press it down into the cookie just a bit. Okay, we're going to take a look at the completed cookie. I do leave them on the tray to sit for just a few minutes. When you go to transfer them to your cooling rack, do be careful. You don't want to touch the kiss on top because the cookie is still hot enough that even though it keeps its shape, it's the chocolate of the Hershey Kiss is soft enough that it will lose its shape if you happen to touch it. And before I show you the finished cookie, I do want to let you know I got 2 dozen cookies out of this. It says 2.5 dozen should be what you get. I think I made my first batch just a little bit bigger than an inch a piece. If you want to be sure you're going to get 2.5, go ahead and roll all of them before you go to put them on the cookie tray, or roll them in the powdered sugar. That way, if you happen to be short, you can pinch just a little bit off of previously rolled cookies and make more and reshape them all into the ball shape that they're supposed to be. Here are completed cookies that I'm going to go ahead and put onto the cooling rack. Again, you can see where the powdered sugar is still there a little bit, but I had those really coated in powdered sugar, and this is how much it kind of bakes into the cookie. Here is our finished product. Hot cocoa cookies topped with hot cocoa Hershey Kisses and Catching Christmas by Terri Blackstock. I hope you give both of them a try this Christmas. Merry baking and happy reading.